middle school on the 12th. How is that gonna work when you have buses fill in for the routes? They'll get the route sheets and the kids will know, okay, yep. And then all the other schools, St. Pete's, Columbus Bay, they have off, and then they have the Teachers Institute on the 13th. Can you guys hear me back there? And then all the other schools that pertain to each individual, so we'll go over that. As far as the GCNs, the videos that we usually do in the safety meetings, there was an email sent out. You guys have to watch them on your own this year. And they need to be done by October 2nd. Mary sent out a link to get onto that. If you have any troubles, you can contact Susie over at HR if you have trouble getting on. Let's see here. We have a bunch of reminders. I know we keep saying it over and over, but high school drivers, do not drive before 7:20. Elementary, we announced 7:50. Middle school, release when you get to the middle school, 8:10 or later. Pull all the way around, and do not park in your spots until 8:25 if you park over there. We've been having some congestion over there with drivers parking early. Calling in, when you're calling in to be off, if you're sick or something, you need to call in the morning. It's between 6 and 6:15. In midday, it's 90 minutes before your prior scheduled time. In the PM, it's 90 minutes before your route time. You cannot leave a message. You need to talk to somebody in the office. You want to call the main number, which is 3004. Don't call one of our extensions because some of us might not be in till later. When you're turning off your buses at the end of the day or in between routes when you're doing your child check and you go to the left, people are leaving it to the left. Make sure you get that key back straight up and down. When staging, buses should be turned off, not running. Do not leave your buses running when you're fueling. That's one big no-no. Your DEF should be filled to a quarter tank. When it gets to a quarter tank, I mean. So make sure when it gets to a quarter tank, you get over here and get it filled. Repair requests. We need you guys to make sure you have the mileage on your repair request. And you need to complete it totally with what's wrong with it. Don't just be one little thing. They don't always know what you're talking about. Make sure you're clear.
And with that too, I know that the repair requests don't have a thing for mileage on them. We're working on updating the sheets, so I guess in the meantime, just kind of scribble it in the corner or something. And then even if it's something dumb, like you need another trip book or something, the mileage always helps, because I gotta go manually put all those into our software, so anytime I get an updated mileage, it helps me out.
Same thing with the pre-trip sheets. We need the unit number on there. And you are to turn them in before you leave in the morning. Another thing, we do not control the directions on the route sheets to your first stop or from your last stop to the bus garage. Go whatever way you need to go that you think is the best way to go. Viking Drive is 20 miles per hour. Let's make sure we're going that. Some people are going a little faster than that down Viking. If you have a question about anything, in the morning come in after AM routes. And the PM come in before PM routes. It's very hectic in there in the mornings and after, so we prefer that you come in after AMs or before PMs. Do not pull your car or your bus up to the front. If you're running in to drop off something, do not do that. The mechanics are pulling out of the bays and they don't always see a vehicle behind them. We don't want any accidents. And do not park your buses by the fuel pumps either. Also, if you need to back up, you need to have a spotter. Always try to find somebody to spot you. Cleaning your buses. We cannot bring supplies from home. We have to use what we have here. If you need supplies, you need to get them from the mechanics. So do a repair request to write, say that you need more spray or whatever. Fueling your buses, they need to be fueled when they're at a half a tank. During the winter months, dispatch will let you know, but you should, when it's extremely cold, have your buses fueled at 3/4 of a tank. We want to have them full when it's cold. After AM routes, leave your pre-trip books on the steps of the 72 passenger buses, and then on the driver's seats of the vans. The vans are parked outside. They're to be left unlocked between AM and PM routes with the keys left on the buses. Also, at the middle school, when unloading, use the radio. You guys gotta work together. Pull all the way around to slot 1. Spraying your buses should be done on your way back from checking your student. See if any students are left, and pushing the button. So spray on your way down and then spray on your way back, correct?
Yeah, I'll be going over that too.
Yeah, he's gonna go over that again. You are paid until 8:27, so that you can stay out of the way of the later buses trying to drop off students at the middle schools. So you need to get out of the way, even if you park there and you think, oh, they're not pulling over here, you still need to pull out and come back in. When leaving, after picking up for PM routes, buses using Fabian going eastbound need to stay in the left lanes. Also, if you park at the middle school, buses are to be locked, including the back door. Windows and hatches are to be closed. If you park at the garage, last one in always closes the door in the afternoon. Try to get to know your neighbors so you know if they do field trips, you know to close the door because they won't be back. It helps these guys out tremendously. COVID protocols. The symptoms. I know there's a wide range of symptoms being reported. It changes all the time. Right now it's fever and chills, cough, shortness of breath, difficulty breathing, fatigue, muscle aches, headache, new loss of taste or smell. That's a big one, I guess people really notice that when they get it. Sore throat, congestion, runny nose, nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea. We try to update this list as we get it from the CDC. Also, if you have one of them symptoms and you call in, you're on a 10-day quarantine until you can get a negative COVID test. So, the sooner you go to get the test, if you feel better the next day, the sooner you'll be back to work if you get the test done. And I know the Aurora Outlet Mall is free. You might have to wait in line a little bit, but it is free there. And there are some other places you can go also. I'm not sure where those are, but you can go on to Kane County's health department and they'll tell you.
If you just Google COVID test in Illinois, the King County one's one of the first links, and they have a huge list. I know in particular, the two that I went to the mall, which, let me tell you, it's like the DMV, and it's only until supplies last. So if you get there at noon and you wait in line until 4 o'clock, they might tell you to leave because they don't have anything left. Now, I did that about a month ago, so I don't know if it's changed a whole lot since, but it takes a very long time. And if you get there early, there will already be a line, and it's not run by the National Guard anymore, so things aren't as smooth and pain in the butt, but it is free. And then they only give you your results over the phone. They don't send you an email, they don't do anything that would be convenient or nice. And if you don't answer the phone, they leave you a very vague message saying, call them back at so-and-so number. So that's about as good as it gets with the free tests. Now for the regular tests, the one clinic that I went to was on 30 and 34. It's over by the Five Guys Burgers, if anybody knows where that's at, in Oswego. I went to that one. It's like $250 if you don't have insurance, and about $40 if you do. So, regardless, they're pretty expensive. I went for the free option 3 times in a row. And waited through that long DMV line.
You can though also go through your own doctor.
Yeah. And
I know some of the doctor's offices are doing them.
yeah. Not all, unfortunately. My primary care physician does not, and I'm with the Fox Valley Medical Group. Actually, a lot of theirs seem to be a lot of their clinics seem to be closed down because all their doctors are going and helping out the big hospitals. So that's why I was looking for other clinics. But there is stuff out there. There's probably something more local than out in Oswego where I went. But yeah, the website will say they have a huge list of different places you can go to.
Do you accept verbal, or do you need it in writing that you're clear?
Well, they're gonna call you by phone, so.
Right, if you go to the Aurora Outlet Mall, I'm guessing,
I mean, but
that's a good question.
Yeah.
This is a good question. I'll have to check with Mary on that one. I would think you need it in writing, but.
It's kind of a really big gray area. Some places are requiring writing, some places are okay with the verbal. It's due to the difficulty of getting a test in the first place, not to mention whether supplies are available or whether or not your doctor does it. It seems that verbal is okay. When I got mine, I got 3 verbal confirmations that I was negative before I came back, and that seemed to do the trick. But I mean, worst case scenario, record the phone call.
How long did it take for yours to come back? 5 days?
No, mine took a little over 24 hours.
Because Aurora Outlets. 5 days.
Yeah, so they say within 5 to 7 days, but it's way faster than that. I don't think I've ever heard of anybody taking longer than that, but I had mine and it wasn't the next day, it was like the next morning, like early in the morning is when I got my phone call, so not quite 48 hours, but.
So we've had multiple people go there and haven't heard anything. So what do you do then? You sit around and just twiddle your thumbs? I mean, I've had
Where did they go?
I've had 4 or 5 people go to Aurora and never heard anything.
Really?
Take the test, get no confirmation one way or the other. So,
Yeah, that's, I haven't heard that, so. Take your cocaine.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah,
Pay for.
go to the doctor. I haven't heard any of that, so. I would think you would have to stay out the 10 days then at least.
yeah,
Also, it's either the 10 days or confirmation of some sort. Oh, okay.
10 days with no symptoms.
With no symptoms, yeah.
If your 10th day is gone and you're still having symptoms, fortunately, that doesn't count.
All right.
and then
What,
sick time, so you're covered from a government standpoint on the first 14 days, or how does
Yes.
this work?
Mhm.
So if you go through this multiple times though, you're gonna be in a sick time.
correct.
Yeah, so if I were to have another scare or anything like that, I'd have to use my own sick hours, because I had to take all 14 days.
Any other questions? Okay, I have one last thing. You come in through the front, you go out through the back. We have a lot of people coming in and just going out the front. The whole purpose is to not cross each other, so we need to make sure we're going out the right way. Any questions about anything? No? We got a video we're gonna watch, or are you gonna do your thing first?
Yeah, I'll do mine first and then
All right. He's gonna
set the video up.
demonstrate again.
All right. So there's been a lot of confusion. It's really bright. Been a lot of confusion over the sanitizing process. And the last meeting that we had, we were still kind of in a gray area about how everything would work. We didn't know how it would work. We didn't know what would be covered. So as of right now, the official ruling is anytime you do a child check, grab your bottle and spray down your bus as you go down and back. Another thing a lot of people have had the question about is whether or not they're sanitizing too much because it's not drying within the 10 minutes or their bus is excessively sticky or wet. Now, it doesn't take a lot of this stuff to give you the full coverage that you need. And it's honestly one of the reasons why we picked these bottles in particular is because it puts out a fine mist of atomized sanitizer and it has such a large coverage area. So what we do is pick up your bottle, you go down one way, and it doesn't take a whole lot. You can just kind of swing back and forth, and as long as you're getting all the way to the window and the wall, and then the full seat, that's all you need to cover. We're not hitting the floors, we're not hitting the ceiling, we're not hitting every little tiny nook and cranny. It's all the hot spots where someone is likely to touch. Also, you have to hit every single seat. You can't just sanitize where little Timmy is and then Susie's at and then just skip the one in the middle because Timmy probably flicked the booger on it and now it's contaminated. So, no, we have to hit every single seat. Now, when you're going down, it's a very quick and easy process. You don't have to like make sure every inch of it is completely wet and you don't have to hit all of it over here and there. It's just a quick back and forth through each seat. And it takes less than a minute to do that whole process. I've tested it like hundreds of times. I know Matt's tested it a bunch of times. And if you have any issues with your bottle, the first thing I can suggest is just pumping it up. We have a few people who are like, the bottle's not working. It just needs air. Really easy to pump. Usually 5 or so gets you one way, and then 5 or so gets you back. And then I fill these just about every single day. I know some of the one-tier routes, you guys can usually go every other day. But yeah, just about every single day. So I do ask that you put them on the step. And some of you hang them on the garbage can. I'm okay with that as long as I can reach it. Just don't put it inside of the garbage can. I really hate it when I pull them out and they're covered in gum and dirty tissues. That happened a couple of times. And then with the short buses, I know you guys have these in particular. Obviously, they're not as convenient as those, but those can get expensive at $6 a pop, and you got 80 buses to cover. Plus Home Depot is completely out in a 50-mile radius. We got every single one that's out there. So with these, the coverage is about the same. Obviously, it's not as fast or convenient, but what I found, there we go. What I found is usually about like 3 on the back, 3 on the seat, and then you just kind of keep moving. Also, with the sped buses, if you have a wheelchair bus, you have to hit the wheelchair area in the back. So the window, the wall, that little vinyl bumper on the side, and the seat belts as well. I want to make sure that all of that's getting covered because it's all hot spots. It's all easily accessible, touchable, and I'm sure the kids are probably reaching everywhere. Now, once again, it doesn't mean hose it down till it's dripping. Just a quick couple is all it takes. And now, we had one question last meeting about the airborne stuff. You can't get the airborne stuff. It's airborne unless we were to have a constant layer of fog and all of you in respirators and each of the kids wearing oxygen tanks on their back. There's no way to really avoid that, which is why we have masks and we sanitize every touchable surface to prevent this in every way that we possibly can. Also, this stuff is super safe for the most part. We only have one person who actually has sensitive skin enough that this affects them, but like, it really is super safe. Like it takes extremely sensitive skin.
I feel like he's gonna put his hand
Yeah.
on his skin now.
Yeah, I've been working with this stuff for quite some time now, and I haven't gotten anything. I mean, granted, my hands are made of leather now because I'm a mechanic, but
You do realize your skin will take that right into your body, regardless whether you break out or not.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Regardless of that fact, is that it's a viricide designed to go after viruses and mold, which luckily we aren't. They're targeting the specific cellular structure of those things, so that it is very safe, and it kills this stuff very well. I actually have the SDS forms in the shop if anyone's interested in seeing them, but there's a long list of things that it actually takes care of, including like MRSA and flu, like 9 separate strains of flu, and there's a ton of stuff that this thing kills, and it's incredibly safe. This is the hospital grade stuff that they use at all major hospitals and facilities to sanitize everything. The vapors and fumes that it gives off are negligible. It's safe to breathe, so you can spray it to your heart's content. Well, I mean, we need it to dry, so don't do that. But you can spray as much as you want in a small, confined space, and it's not going to do anything other than get really sticky, which is my next part. So, I don't go in and wipe down your buses every single day after AMs and after PMs. There's not enough time in the world for that. I need some sort of magic to stop time in order to do that. To put it in slight perspective, if it takes about 1 minute to sanitize each bus, we have almost 80 buses. That's over an hour after AMs and over an hour after PMs. That's just too much. I'm not capable, and me and Mike aren't capable of doing that. What we do, however, is once a week, we wipe down all of the vinyl in your buses to get all the sticky residue that this thing leaves behind. Apparently it doesn't like vinyl, but it likes every other plastic in existence. So in order to prevent damage to the seats, we have to wipe all of that sticky residue off. Now, I have a separate chemical. It's a combination of hydrogen peroxide, orange oil, and a few other things. It is a degreaser and a sanitizer, so that's kind of where the confusion came from, is the fact that it technically is a sanitizer, but that's not what it's there for. It's to get the sticky residue off. Me and Mike hit all the buses at least once per week. I can't promise you the same rotation because every day is different and everybody has different middays and A and B days. Everything's nuts. So if you got hit on a Monday, you might get hit on a Friday next week, so on and so forth. But at least once a week, every single bus is being wiped out. I usually do those after AMs. That's kind of our targeted area because it has the most time to dry. I don't have to stay late and get overtime. I don't have to come in early as heck. So if your bus smells fresh like oranges, I was probably just in there. If it's a little bit wet, it's hydrogen peroxide, so it's
not gonna harm you. I mean, unless you're dousing yourself in it, that stuff's a little more caustic than this stuff is, but hopefully you're not swimming in it. As far as that, I think that covers everything. So put them on the steps with your book for big buses, or either put them clearly visible on the short buses so that when I go to do my fluid check, I can see it and see how full it is or where it's at even. I had one bus that didn't even have one. I don't know how. Or like a few drivers said they'll just put it on their seat whenever it's getting low or empty. That works for me, just as long as I can see it and know that I need to swap it out for a new one. If your spray bottle or stops working, doesn't work effectively, or something goes wrong with it, let me know. I'll take a look at it and try and get it working again. These in particular, there's like a little straw in there that sucks up all the sanitizer. It falls off. So if it just starts spraying air and it's not getting pressure, that's probably what happened. Yeah, a lot of it's easy fixes or bottle swaps or whatever. So if it's not working, let me know and I'll get you a new one. And as far as materials go, if you run out of repair requests, if you run out of every piece of paper you can get your hands on to request something new, even sticky notes work. When you put them in your mailbox for me to pick up, I don't exactly look at everything that comes out of the mailboxes when I grab it. I just grab it and go. So when I look at it, it doesn't have a number and I don't remember what mailbox it came out of. That's my bad. I'm trying to pay more attention to that. But if you can just write a signature or a name or just your bus number on it, I'll be able to get you what you need. Somebody out there needs repair requests and a trip book, and I don't know who it is. So
It was me, I got it from Mike.
okay, good. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, and if you see me out there in the bus barn, because I'm not just confined to that little garage, I'll be all over the place, usually wiping that orange stuff all over the buses. If you need something, ask. I mean, the whole concept of the writing in on a repair request is to prevent contact, but pay for 6 feet with following the rules. So I know that helps things kind of flow a little more easily. And then every single bus has a mailbox. Generally, it's wherever they park. Now, 49 and 50 are out on the curb because we obviously don't have space. Those are in the wash bay. There's a spare bus bin for those trip sheets. And same with 65 and 63. Those are also in the wash bay. They have their own little mailbox and everything. So if you're ever wondering where those were, I don't think I put that out at all. So yeah, that was my bad. But yeah, I think that's everything. Any questions?
Hey, Tyler, you talked about spraying on the seats and the windows where it's coming down.
Mm-hmm.
What about the stairway? I've been spraying my handle going down the stairway, hit the door and the dashboard because, especially if you got an elementary route, these little dudes touch everything coming onto the bus.
Yes. Yeah, I forgot to mention that too. But yeah, your entire stairway is a very good place to hit, especially your handrails. That entire front side of that vinyl, if you want, just a quick spray over the whole thing is all it really takes. After every time you child check, hit that too. Even if you want to hit your own seat, dash, anything that you feel is exposed and would be touched, it's just a good spot to hit. Now, like I said, the floor, we're not really counting the floor. They shouldn't be on the floor, I would hope. I know that's not necessarily the case all the time, but the floor should get enough sanitizer just from spraying the seats themselves. And then we had one question about the ceiling. Don't spray the ceiling. You don't need to. It is not necessary, as I am sure most of the children are not jumping up to put handprints on the ceiling. But like I said, every case is different. So, any other questions? All right. That is all I've got.
I have a couple more things I forgot. I know it's hard to keep these masks on, believe me, I have to wear it all day. And when we've been pulling some videos, we've noticed some people riding like this. It's for your own protection, you need to keep them up. I just want, you know, it's for your own protection. So make sure you're wearing your mask properly. Also, we have 2 drivers. I don't know if you've noticed, they're here today. They're in training. They'll be joining us when they're done with training. That is Jim over there. And back here is Bill. They should be done pretty soon, a couple more weeks, I think, maybe. And they'll be taking over the empty routes that we're covering. So, if you guys don't have any other questions, we'll watch the video.